The following video was produced by the Pattaya City Expats Club, which is a non-profit social organisation, and our speakers are volunteers. The club, as such, assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker in this video. Okay?
It's a special day because we not only have a speaker, but we're going to have an activity following the meeting, opportunity to participate here. A few years ago, Nina was sitting in the middle of the back seat of her uncle's car, and there was a terrible crash, and she became disabled. And now she has spent her time promoting help for people with disabilities. And Kevin, who is going to be our speaker today, is a retired chartered accountant who ran his own engineering company in the UK before setting up and moving to Thailand 27 years ago. Well, that's a long time. You've been here 27 years. Oh, it says 27. I'm like, well, whatever. He's been here a long time, folks. He discovered sailing when he was 30 years old and sailed a 36-foot cruising yacht during holidays in Mallorca for 20 years before coming to Thailand and joining yacht racing here. And recently he was asked to take out a severely handicapped person for a sail, and this one act instantly made him decide to devote as much time as possible to helping as many people as possible to enjoy the sport of sailing. So he's going to tell us about sailing and disabled sailing, and then right after the meeting, the club members are going to have the unique opportunity to witness a lesson in disabled sailing at the Ocean Marina. So there will be minibuses to take people there. Kevin says he can accommodate 40 people to watch from a spectator fleet. It's likely going to involve about 2.5 hours on the water and then a return minibus back. So there'll be instructions after the meeting about how to do this. Anyway, it's time for me to turn the microphone over to Kevin, and so please give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I'm not a regular talker, so please forgive any pauses or the fact that I have to use notes to give this talk. But I do feel it's very, very important that the talk is given, and I hope that you will take on board what is being said. I'd just like to start with one simple thing. Disabled sailing is a term that I really do not like, and I'd like to get that through to begin with. You may say sailing for people with disabilities. That is correct. But disability can be anything. It can be lack of money, lack of funds, lack of opportunity. It can be age, infirmity, or it can be like we discussed about Nina. Nina is actually a quadriplegic, and the only movement she has is in her neck. I don't know whether anybody can imagine that, but just try to imagine that. And that is the extent, if you like, of the severity of disability that we try to contend with. Nina was supposed to come here today. Unfortunately, circumstances beyond her control. She won't be here, but she will be at the marina, and we will take her out sailing. So, I don't know how many of you have experienced sailing as such. I don't mean for people with disabilities, but just generally sailing. And sailing is quite a unique sport. The biggest difference between sailing and motor sailing can be felt that going out on the marina, usually we have the engine on. Our sails are ready, but we're using the engine. And then there comes a moment when we're out and we switch off the engine. And that feeling is just tremendous. You're then you're free as a bird. You're using the wind. Obviously, you need your experience. But it's just such a good feeling that all you're relying on is nature. And that feeling is freedom. Absolute freedom. And what we hope to do is to give that freedom to people who can't enjoy that freedom on the land. For any reason that they don't experience sailing, we want to get them out there. My first idea, and really I only started this in January, so it's only a couple of months. My first idea was disabled sailing. And I contacted clubs in New Zealand, and Australia, Japan, and I soon began to learn that we try to develop a whole range of possibilities. So that, for instance, in Japan, they realized that for every disabled person, there are carers, there are family, helpers, whether it's government controlled or personal, family, and they try to get everybody involved. So even if somebody comes along and makes the sandwiches for people, prepares the boat, or goes out sailing, they want them involved. So that it becomes sailing for everybody, to give freedom to everybody. But obviously, we start by thinking about the people who have the worst situation in life, where they are disabled in their life on the land. It's also maybe thought that sailing is for the rich, and certainly in a lot of cases it is. Being wealthy certainly helps to run a boat, but anybody can become involved. Probably two ways. One is to join a club where there are boats and people need crew, or there is to make very good friends with a very rich person. That's another way of doing it. I am not a rich friend, by the way. I'm not here to hold my hand out for donations. I completely reject the idea of asking a captive audience for money. Neither would I expect you to buy the t-shirt. What I do hope that you will consider is to get the message across. I'm hoping that my message gets across to you, and that using the pyramid system, you will send that message to many, many other people. And some of those people will be charitable organisations that do have the money, that do have the wealth, that do have the interest, and want to help these people. Anybody to go sailing, to enjoy the freedom of sailing. So please think about that. You must all know of somewhere, some connection, where other people can help. And then we all, excuse me, we all put our resources together and finish up with a good result. If I go back a bit, I took Nina, again, the quadriplegic lady, I took her sailing about a year and a half ago. And because of her disabilities and the lack of any special boats at the time, we simply bolted her wheelchair to the deck of the boat and took her out for a couple of hours. And to see her face, to see the enjoyment she had, was just mind-bending. It just is, I'm almost in tears, excuse me. Sorry about this. The boat was not adapted, so we couldn't have Nina operating the controls. But she had the freedom of being out on the sea. Now, a guy called Peter Jacobs, who was supposed to give this talk, but landed it on my doorstep, he is developing a specialized boat. And this specialized boat would be capable of allowing Nina to have some control on the boat. So this special boat is controlled by joysticks or a suck and blow tube, and this will control sails or the steering or the tilt angle of the seats. All these three things can be controlled by either a joystick or a mouth tube. So that there's also two ways that this can be handled. If somebody like Nina, who can only move a neck, she can either use the blow tube or can use the joystick by simply pushing it with her chin. So they just go from side to side to operate the boat. Now this boat we were supposed to demonstrate today with Nina on board, but unfortunately the development hasn't reached a substantial stage where we feel that this can be safe. So we have cancelled the use of the special boat, the SB14 as it's called, and we will instead be using plateaus. Let me just, I think this photograph is one of the best I've ever seen. Peter Jacobs took this photograph, and if that doesn't explain what we're all about, then nothing will. Let's see if we can move on. This is Kun T, has no use of his legs. This is Kun Sol, the same. And this is Kun Pong, who has an obvious disability. And these are the three guys that we take out. This is Nina on the right-hand side of your photo. Just a lovely lady, unbelievable. Nina works hard to promote sport for people with disabilities. She also runs her own business, I think, online. She runs, or is developing, again, unfortunately I don't like the name, but I have to stick with it. So this is a website that Nina is developing. It's in its early stages, but I do ask you to go and look, and there will be some things of interest on there. My own website is not specific, it's not unique for this activity.
Excuse me, could you write a bit in bigger letters? We can't read what this.
Oh, right, okay.
Can you read the website?
Read them out?
Yeah, okay, sorry. The website is disabledsailingthailand.org. This is the one that Nina runs. My own is Yachts in Thailand. All one word. .com. Yachtsinthailand.com is actually for the race boat called a plateau. Plateau, as you know, is a small fish in Thai. It's a small fish and it's very, very nimble, quick, and that refers to the nature of the boat. The plateau was specifically designed for Thailand by Bruce Farr. It was designed not just for Thailand, shall I say, but for the Gulf. The Gulf of Thailand is quite unique. We have fantastic sunshine every day. We have warm water. We have quite flat seas relative to around the world. And we have moderate breezes. So between anything from 5 to 10 or 11 knots are ideal for this boat. And therefore it is an ideal boat for this area. It also means that the boat is ideal because it is so safe that we can take out anybody. We can take small children, we can take anybody with any disabilities. And the demonstration today will be that we will, again, bolt Nina's wheelchair onto the deck of the boat to be able to take her sailing. Let's see what else we have here. Again, this demonstrates exactly what it's all about. We're just going down to the boat here. This is the plateau, and the guy's getting on board. There's another photo of it. Now, say the boat wasn't specially designed for the job, but actually it works extremely well. Because the two guys cannot move around the boat, their legs don't work. We sit one either side. You'll see some other photographs later. We sit one either side of the helm. So it's on one tack, one is steering, and on the other tack, the other is steering. We also made a small adjustment to the control for the mainsail, and they can control the mainsail. And then Kumpong, with one leg, he is able to cross the boat, so he is able to control the jib and move from side to side. So in that way, the three of them can control the boat fully. And that's what we're developing. They've been out 3 times now, and they're doing exceptionally well. Having said that, we're not just here to teach people how to sail and take them up to a high level. We're quite happy if somebody just wants to go for a cruise. If you know of anybody that would simply like to get out onto the water for freedom, then please let us know. We can arrange that we can take them for a cruise, for a barbecue somewhere, if they're able to have a swim, whatever. And but also we will and can teach them how to sail up to Olympic level, if they want. Entirely up to them. So we're not restricted in the level of sailing that we give them. Activities. Yesterday, a group of us from Ocean Marina Yacht Club, a few boat owners, got together the same as we did last year and took out 50 or 60 young children from a school that helps children with HIV. And it is an amazing experience. We take them out to a quiet area, we anchor up the boats, give them some food, and then all hell breaks loose. They go swimming, they go canoeing, they go on speedboats, anything. And the look on the faces for the next 2 hours, the smiles on the faces, their enjoyment is just a joy to behold. And what I've learned from this is that the joy of giving beats for hell out of receiving. Please understand. Excuse me. I talked, I think I've covered about the boats. That, as I say, this boat is not designed, but what we're doing is we're developing the boat gradually, various things, and I'm hoping eventually that we can allow Nina, with her severe disability, to be able to control a part of the boat. This is something we're working on. So it is an ongoing development with this particular boat, and also with the other boat, the special boat. Let's see if we can. Well, these are the guys. You can see just how much it means to them. Well, fantastic guys. These are from the Father Ray Foundation. Just go back. So you see here that although they can't move around on the boat, they can share the activity of steering. And as I say, we've now moved the rope so that they can control the sails as well. That's the 3 of them. This is the SV-14, which was specifically designed for severely disabled people with disabilities. It was designed and made in South Africa, and at the moment there are 10 of them being built all around the world. I hate to say it, but I have some reservations about the boat. For instance, being sat front and back, you don't see the person that you're taking out, you don't get the the feeling of being at one with them. But the advantage of the boat is that it will allow somebody with severe disabilities to be able to take part in the sailing of the boat. This is brand new. It was only launched a couple of weeks ago, so there is a lot of development work still to be done, which is what we found out on the sea trial yesterday, which is why we're not using the boat today. You see there it says Phuket Marina. They bought the boat for this cause, and Ocean Marina Yacht Club, they help with free launches and looking after the boat. I think Simpson Marine also sponsored a boat, and Oz Thai Marine in Pattaya, they also sponsored a boat and built one which was actually handed to the princess as a ceremony a couple of weeks ago. We are hoping she hands it back so that we can use it, but that's in the hands of the gods. Just talking about today, for those of you that want to come, we have arranged a demonstration. It seems as though we've had difficulties all the way along. Ren and I have tried to keep the thing going in spite of lots of difficulties. One was that, as I say, that this boat was not fully developed, so we cannot use that. Nina was supposed to be here to give you a talk on what life is like for her and what she does with her life. Unfortunately, she's had some problems being here, but she will be at the marina, so you can meet her there and talk to her there. So today, again, if I can just demonstrate, that is a boat, and that is a boat. I think that's fairly clear. You will be going on this one. This is a big catamaran. It sails flat, not much movement, and it's a very luxurious boat, costing God knows how many millions. And this is the plateau, the small race boat. If anybody wants, we would welcome them to come aboard the plateau and experience it. So please consider that. Now, it's something that we would like someone to do. You don't need to be a sailor. You don't need to be fantastically fit. As you see, we take out people with severe disabilities, so we can take any of you guys out and just see what. Nina will be here on the boat. Here's the cockpit. So Nina will be, as I say, bolted down in a wheelchair here, and then we can have people here on the boat who can steer and just experience what it is like for the people that we do take out. I don't think there's much more to say. I mean, there's lots of things I want to get through, but the main thing I want to get through to you all is please help, please pass the word. As I say, I don't want money from you. What I want is your help to spread the word, to get to charitable organisations, and also think about it yourself. Anybody who wants to help, we welcome you to come and help in any way, whether you want to go on the water or not. All this type of institutions, we all need help from people in any way, shape or form. What I would ask is, are there any questions about anything?
Kev, Ren here, where do you see it going? You've really been taken up because Peter Jacobs has moved to Phuket. And I know he was originally hoping to have a disabled sailing regatta at about this time of year, which is why we originally had Peter penciled in to give the talk. So is that something you're interested in, the regatta thing that he was talking about organising?
Yes, I wasn't involved from the start, so I had to sort of pick up what the situation was. And the reason I got involved with Peter was that he was there building his boat at the marina while I was working on other boats, and he needed a small bracket making, which I made for him, and that sort of sucked me into the into the SB14, by the way. SB14.org is their website, which is quite interesting. And I got sucked into the SB situation, but as I say, to tell you the truth, the more I saw the boat, the more it was more limited to the type of people that it can help, and also it was being controlled by a committee, which I don't particularly like committees, I have to say. I'm sorry about that. So as an independent, that's why I started Freedom Sailing. But I was there to help Peter. Peter was going to say, Peter should have been giving his talk, but he put it in my lap and then he disappeared to Phuket. He was forced into the move. His wife got a job in Phuket that they couldn't refuse, and so he had to lift wife and family and go and live in Phuket. And the boat that is his life at the moment sits in Pattaya. I don't know where it's going because I will now spend all my time on Freedom Sailing, and this SV14 project will be a separate project from now on, and we'll need people to look after it. I can't do two things, and we just have to run them alongside each other.
On your left here, please. On your left. Can I remind you, please, if you have a question, could you stand up and hold the mic like I'm holding like this, so we can all hear.
Thank you. My name is Philip. Can you tell us how you get Nina onto the boat?
With difficulty. That's quite interesting, really, because the marina in helping with the SV14 project, they also are now having a people lift installed. I don't know the progress on that, but simply Nina arrives and we lift her out of her wheelchair onto a conventional chair on the dock. Then we take her wheelchair and bolt it to the boat, and then lift Nina into the wheelchair. So if we're not using a wheelchair, it's the same system that if somebody was severely disabled but didn't need the wheelchair, we just lift them onto the boat. But all these guys, legs and arms that don't work, they get themselves on. And we certainly wouldn't want to help them because they want to be able to do as much as they can. They're very independent people.
Thank you very much and well done for what you're doing.
Sir, I have a question in regards to safety. If they're bolted into the boat,
If they're what, sorry?
if they are bolted into the boat, what happens if the boat capsizes? What safety do you have in place? Because it is possible, as you know, you can get us, anything can happen on the water. So it is possible that it can capsize. What do you do then?
The photo you have here is of the SV14, and again, I have doubts about its stability, which is why I stepped aside. I don't want to denigrate the SV14. It's a work in progress. It needs certain things checking, it needs developing. We use this boat, as you can see the difference. Like here, we normally sail it with 5 people. There's plenty of room. It is as safe as houses. If I took that boat out and tried to turn it over, I couldn't. That's how safe this is. The only way that we can get these on the side is to use a spinnaker, the big coloured sail at the front, and go out in about 30 knots of wind. That's the only way we can put these on the side. And so we don't use a spinnaker, and we don't go out in 30 knots of wind. All right, so wind can come up quickly. We can't avoid that, but we can't predict. So in that instance, we would not be in that situation. For those who don't know, this is a yacht. So, okay, so imagine a big strong wind, and here's a sail. There's a lot of force on that sail, and it can blow the boat. In this case, the wind this direction. The more the wind blows the boat, the less sail area is available for the wind to hit. You can see there, we're on now this much height, whereas here we have this much height of sail to collect wind. So the more the boat leans, the less the force is to turn it. Also, this is 400 kilograms. The boat is 800, and this is almost 2 meters. So the force of this, once it gets high, is to right the boat. So that's one good thing about the Plateau, that it is just a very, very safe boat. The other thing, of course, we would consider is that we always ask the sailors, the crew, if they can swim. If they can't swim, we fit them with life jackets. And I like to give them the choice of whether they wear a life jacket or not, as long as they can swim. If they can't swim, then they have to wear a life jacket. We also have I don't know whether this shows it or not. No, we don't have it. These guys are racing. They're not. These are not guys with disabilities. These are racing hard. We have a life raft that we have at the back end of the boat and a long line. Personally, I can swim well. The guy that helps me, he can swim well. So, and the waters are safe here. The boats were actually made in New Zealand 20 odd years ago, and the irony is that they're not safe in New Zealand. They have very, very big seas, very big tides, and very big winds, and then they would be not unstable, but it would be a rough ride. And as I said, if you're racing with a spinnaker up, then you can have problems. You might go on the side. I think I've been on my side twice in 10 years of sailing these boats, and the boat comes up within about 30 seconds. Okay, not ideal, but that is the situation.
All right, over here.
Hi there, I'm just wondering what connections you've got with other sailing clubs that do similar things. I come from Bristol and did a tiny bit of sailing, and there was a disabled club and these similar boats that weren't capsized. I just wondered what connections you've got with other clubs that do similar things.
As I say, I just started in January, so the first thing I did was contact clubs in New Zealand and Australia. And I did read about a report, I don't know whether it was from Bristol, from England. And again, they persuaded me to develop freedom sailing for anybody who wants to go sailing, not just people with disabilities. And so that's why the concept of freedom sailing is changing almost every day as I learn new things. So the Japanese way is something that made me think that this is the way we should go. And I think in England, I don't know about the Bristol club, but the club that I read about, they're going that way. That they actually show photographs of an 82-year-old lady who would never have thought of going on a yacht, and yet was somehow seen. She had a sort of a little bit of sparkle, and she goes sailing. And if you read what she says about the difference in her life, it is amazing. She had no idea that it would change her life so much, and she just loves it. Okay, she's if you like, she has disabilities because of old age, nothing specific. I was talking to Tom here, and he's saying, you know, the older you get, the less mobile you are. Your joints don't flex very easily, and that sort of thing. But you can sail at any level. You know that when I showed you the size of boats, you can go on any size boat you like. And I think probably the boats that they use in Bristol is the Hansa boat. Is that correct? Do you know? You don't. Hansa is a company that developed boats specifically for people with disabilities. But it's a completely different concept from the SB14. I should have brought the photographs, so I apologize about that. If we think of the SB14 with its seats here, this is roughly what the boat looks like. These are the seats. The Hansa is a boat where the person sits almost there. You can just see the head above the shear line. So the concept for providing a boat for people with disabilities varies so much. And as I say, the SP, although I might have said some things about it which are not kind, but it's very specialised, and therefore it needs a lot of development. Whereas this boat has been around many, many years. And again, you can see that this boat only takes one person. So the person has to be able to sail to some capability. Whereas on this boat, you put the trainer here, and this person can have no experience, and we can take them out. And again, as I say, with somebody like Nina, they can control it with a mouthpiece or a toggle that they use with the chin. So horses for courses, really. And the SB, although it's unable to sail today as we wanted, with development it will be a specialist boat for people with disabilities. But the Hansa boats, as I say, I think there's 600 in the world. They use them for the Olympics. And maybe we bring some Hansa boats into the ocean marina. I'm not sure. It's too early for me to know. The main thing for me at the moment is to talk to people like yourselves and spread the word. We need help more than boats. We actually have 13 of these boats at the marina. So we have plenty of opportunity of taking people out. And I think Ren actually asked me, and I didn't answer his question, having a regatta for people with disabilities. The concept, before I got involved, was that they would build the SV14 and have a fleet of 10 of them at the marina by May next year. And the biggest regatta at the marina is the top of the Gulf Regatta. It's an international regatta, which is coming up this year at the end of April. And the idea was to have 10 of these SVs ready for then and have their own regatta for people with disabilities. Again, this sectionalizes people with disabilities. And as I say, in Japan, they want to get away from that concept. We're all people. Some have disabilities, but we're all people, and that's the Japanese way. And this is why I do that. I don't want to hear that. I don't like that word. It's not what we're about. What we're about is taking anybody with any problem or anybody who just simply has never had the opportunity of going to sail. We can give you the opportunities to sail. And it's not a question of hundreds of pounds to do that.
Okay.
I'm a long-time Hawaiian sailor, raised a lot. I really like what you're doing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
One of the things about Nina in a bolted down wheelchair just makes me get a little bit crazy. I mean, a life preserver and a quick release would really, really could save her life or someone's life in the future. So thank you.
I understand that, and I'm not laissez-faire about this, about the potential dangers. I don't treat it lightly. Are you coming to the marina today? Right. Then I would like you to experience the plateau. It is an exceptional boat. And what we did, as a racer you would know, here's your boat. Some boats have a mast that big, and a sail that big. And the same boat can have a sail like that and like that. So the power, the potential of the wind to affect the boat can be changed a lot. So when we take Nina out, these are the sails that we have on board. When we go racing, these are the sails that we have on board. So we take every single precaution that we can. This also means that the boom is high, so above ahead. And we were out for 2 hours, and as far as I was concerned, there was no danger. I wouldn't do it if I felt there was danger. That's why I cancelled today with the SP. There was danger there, and I was not going to get involved. So please have a look today, and then come and talk to me, and I will listen. You know, I will listen to what you say about safety and put it in action for sure.
Thanks, Kev. I just wanted to harken back to a conversation we had earlier today. I've become friends with Jeremy, who runs the Thrive Foundation, Paul, and with Margie, who runs Hand to Hand. And I know how keen they are to get their kids out on the water and stuff. But of course, one of the things with them is you have to have the police checks for everybody who's going to have contact with the children and stuff. Do you think this is something that's doable? I know you already got a lot on your plate, but is that something you could step up to the plate with?
No, absolutely. As I say, freedom sailing is freedom for everybody, and kids especially, because to catch somebody at an early age and get them interested is what we want to do. No matter what their disability or fears that they have, or the background of their lives, we're not worried about that. We can take them on the boat that applies to them. So that, as regards safety, we would take them on this massive boat, on this big catamaran, which is 100% safe, especially in these waters. So you can start with that, and then if the kids want to develop and want to come onto the small race boat, then we can do that with them. So yes.
And this is something I'd say to a lot of people here who might have spare time, you might have your own transport, whatever it is. Thrive, Hand to Hand Foundation, they really need help from volunteers, but you do need to have a police check. I had mine done ages ago, it costs $45 in Australia. Spend the money and make a contribution, like this guy.
Do you, Randy, a question from me, do you follow up this talk with all the information in writing so that they have the websites and the institutions?
There's an article, we have follow-up contact information for you in the next newsletter for the previous week's speaker, and of course the article comes out in the Patia Mail, and also of course the interview and talk is on the web as well.
Yeah, I spoke to Peter of Patia Mail just last week, and he's very interested for me to write him an article on it. I have been exceptionally busy. I've just run a big, what we call the Trans World Regatta for the Plateaus racing, as well as arranging this weekend. So maybe next week I'm more able to follow up with print for you. Maybe we talk about it together. Yeah.
Are there any more questions? No, it looks like no more questions. Thank you very much, sir, for your talk.
Wait, there's one more quick question here.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, this is a late mail.
If you want to say anything about it, I just wondered where you have got the money so far to pay for all the boats in the facility.
So far it's been this.
Also, I just wanted to make my personal thanks to Kev. I know how much we've driven each other mad with emails. It's been over 80 emails go back and forth between us, and it's a big effort. We're disappointed Nina couldn't be here to give her personal experience of becoming a quadriplegic and the sailing, freedom sailing means to her. So really, kudos to you, Kev, for all the work you put in.
Thank you again. We have a certificate here for you, a certificate of appreciation. Move up so that this can be memorialized in a one more. Okay, Sally, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Good. Kevin is going to be interviewed now by Ren for the YouTube channel.